Hello, good evening. Budget estimates for the judiciary and the legislature. So tonight's government makes a strong push for approval of revenue measures introduced to mitigate harsh impact of COVID-19.
Mobilize resources to win that war. The government is not only introducing measures aimed at raising revenue,
but minority points to inaccuracies and anomalies in the policy document, threatening.
Nkrumah went to Guinea. We have never seen a taxes like this. The Speaker, this is dangerous. This budget, the Speaker,
to make a case for or against the 2021 budget statement. Also growing tension between youth of land.
Not supposed to be dealing in land. Where in this world will you see this happening? We have invoked the 99 gods of law so that they will take action.
Their concerns.
And in business, Finance Minister designate Ken Ofori-Atta tout policies outlined.
Newly elected president of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, is confident.
I'll tell you, they take it to the central region where the minister has announced plans to train lifeguards, which is our later rest today.
The assemblies in the region would collaborate to train lifeguards for the various.
George Ferguson, we refer to him as Jesus Christ because he died at the age of 33. When we mention this young modest,
you want to stay with us for the story of that geographer who was key in drawing.
055 11 997. Thanks for your company. And tonight we start off from Parliament, where the much-awaited debate on the 2021 budget has kicked. Spokesperson on the Finance Committee, Dr. Atuforsen, alleges that government has in the past misreported. This has contributed to the economic mess. Contributing to the budget statement on the floor of the House, Atuforsen argued that government...
In 1 year, the Speaker, this, for me, is something that we should send a strong signal to the Ministry of Finance. The Speaker, I want to put on rest. And the Ministry of Finance, that until these anomalies are corrected, we will not be part of them. You will be able to track the debt accumulation. Until you track the way we accumulate debt and we decide to tickle ourselves, and I call on you to ask the Minister, the Speaker, today you have introduced taxes that all of us are worried about. The ordinary Ghanaian is complaining because the taxes are so high. This is a budget that doesn't seem to care. A budget that is only imposing taxes. You have taxes from heaven to hell. The Speaker, I've never seen one. Wow. The Speaker, this tax is so much. The taxes are so much. The Speaker, say taxes. This budget, the Speaker, if I may give it a name, the Speaker, it's like go home and die. The Speaker, this is Kofi Okowu budget. My worry is that some of these taxes are distortionary. Some of these taxes will introduce dead weight costs house to ensure that we understand where we are coming from. That is why I can assure you that I will not be part of the approval of this budget until those misreporting issues are
Well, interesting. I mean, when a budget debate comes around, the motion for the debate insisted that government needs to raise revenue. This question about
citizens have to chip in so that we mobilize resources to win that war. The Speaker, we are at a point in our history where we have no other choice. That now came down to about 0.9%, at least in terms of target in the year 2020. Our deficit position or our debt position currently. It is important that the administration introduces some revenue measures, but has also introduced a number of reliefs aimed at easing the burden on income tax due for companies in the hotel, restaurant, education. And Mr. Speaker, here I make particular mention of the fact that my colleagues in the media, finally, government is extending the waiver of interest as incentive for early payment of accumulated tax arrears. Right, Honorable Speaker, easing the burden on various segments of the economy. For all of us members of Parliament who demand road projects in our constituencies, if government does that our contractors are paid on time so that our roads are done, it is something that will benefit the economic policy of government to approve these measures so that we can mobilize these resources.
So this is how the first salvos were shot by the two gentlemen leading both sides at forcing for the NDC. What has been the key highlights?
Well, so the highlights has essentially been on our debt stock as a nation and the fact that there's been some misreporting from government with regard to mismanaging the economy. But then John Jinapor, when he took his turn to contribute to the debate, took a different turn or a twist to what has happened, including the loss of jobs in that area, and indicated that, well, the House will be the majority, especially the former Deputy Finance Minister, Apawu, consistently was objecting to always being accurate and cited that if it wasn't accurate, the support, the forcing of Agadogo would allege that government has been misreporting the fiscal deficit. Again, the deputy majority leader. So if you are in this current mess, then he and his administration, as the NDC administration, also contributed to what is currently happening. But it's taking the country to a different path, and that is why they christened the budget where you were here, meaning we are moving forward.
But on Friday, he had concerns about the capex, mentioning that it's a zero and sending a signal to the president to do.
After the budget presentation by the majority leader, the speaker was clear in his mind that consistently, of course, ever since he became member, he was giving his introduction speech to the new members of parliament. He indicated that parliament would not be a footnote. Caretaker finance minister, that is Osei Mensah, to communicate to the president that they need to increase the allocation for members of parliament and also the legislature or department under a ministry. And so they must be treated as such. Well, that message was received by the president from the Jubilee House, a letter written on behalf of the president and signed by his executive secretary, Asante Bediatiu. We can listen
of the speaker, explaining or mentioning the concerns that he has about this particular issue. But what really has been the reaction amongst...
give excuses why government had to even slash further the budget as presented by the House. The Speaker in the Jubilee House to let them know that the president does not have the power or is not close with the power to review the budget or they have the power to review their own budget. And so the response or communication he has received from the president to ensure that when they sit, they review the budget and all the allocation and report back to him, either than that budget.
We'll leave it here. Thank you very much, Parker, as we continue to monitor that debate. The President's representative at the Finance Ministry, Charles Edubuahing, earlier on the probe, gave some explanation to this particular...
127 and 179 of the Constitution, I submit herewith and the Judicial Service the estimates of expenditure for the detailed one. But was a reduction in the capex of the judiciary, 591. The data continues. As a result of statutory and debt service obligations, we can suggest that judicial and judicial service operate within this new budget.
We have a challenge. So you operate within, in other words, this is what we can afford now. So make do with that whilst we find other means of...
Final power to approve or disapprove. And so deliberations of the budget before the House. It is not for the executive. And so during the consideration of the estimates, honorable members, particularly the committees concerned, take that on board by the President. That is not the intent of the 1992 Constitution. If you do otherwise, I mean what I say. The weakest link in our democracy, corruption, we are not able to hold the executive to account. We are not able to get the rule of law going. We are the arm to lead that.
So that's the latest letter that the Speaker of Parliament has been explaining why they had to cut the budget of Parliament.
In exact numbers, but I'll pull it up for you shortly. But so it's not, they just didn't get everything they asked for. The goods and services and compensation, we totally fund this. And considering the times and the need for consolidation, we felt a stance, but I figured, he was showing that, he's the man.
So that particular matter, because the speaker is very unhappy about it.
Yeah, I mean the debate itself in the floor, it's has started very interesting with very interesting comments, which has been a thing. But I waited to hear people like Adongo, who on that matter of the budget and some of the key issues there. So
and it's not ending anytime soon.
14 days,
right?
Yes.
And we'll get more shortly.
If you want the live feed, you just have to tune into the debaters pretty raging. I see Rickett Hagan, who is on his feet now, arguing as far as...
And guess what? The Ghana Armed Forces, as the chiefs and people there,
lawfully occupying the land, which was released to them by government in December last year. They want government to hand over documentation story, and she filed this report.
The paramount chief priest of La, Numa Yemo Obloni, the 7th, explained that the land they were seeking to possess used to be part of 5,000 acres is being hived off to private investors.
The government acquired a little over 5,000 acres of land. They were supposed to. People of La got up and we started agitating that government should give us the lands. We have written pitly when we sent a petition to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. We were able lands we are agitating for.
Mr. Teta further alleged military personnel were also recently seen encroaching on the land.
Not long after we realized ending the signing of the documents. Well, the minister didn't say anything, and we felt that silence meant consent. So we saw the consent of our...
The armed forces has so far been unavailable for comment. Judith Awatretando for Joy News.
Minister in charge of Lands and Natural Resources has been responding to that particular issue, Ghana Armed Forces, and we've contacted the Ghana Armed Forces, and they've declined commission, and the people accosted him right there and then placed their concerns right before him. But we'll stay in La a while longer whilst we bring the La General Hospital, which was demolished in March last year. So the project was to be completed in 2024. Residents say they are struggling to access healthcare. Now, they blame the absence of a proper...
This afternoon, cut the sword for the commencement of work for the redevelopment of the La General Hospital.
President Akufo-Addo speaking at Capital. This was after the old 5-story facility was torn down in March same year for weeds with no contractor on site. Just a few meters from the site, there's a raging conversation about the delay.
Because now, if we are sick, you go here. Just walking distance, you go to the polyclinic or private hospital or LECMA. You pick her. If it's serious,
created a different generation. And the hospital is there. They haven't built it. Why is it that you know that you are not coming to here? Before they rushed the door, she died.
66-year-old Ivy Bedema lives about 150.
Diabetic. When we went to police hospital, they said there's no bed. So she has to be going every day to take her drips. And when we took her to police hospital, by the time we rushed her there, she's gone. Supposing the polyclinic
travel to other facilities depend on the La Polyclinic. The problem, however, is that the polyclinic...
relocate the machine here. We don't have theater here, offset gynae. We don't have all the specialties here. Our bed complement is just about 4.
And that's the situation with the La General Hospital. And we're still hoping to hear 4 months already, and it's yet to take off exactly a year after the demolition exercise. It's time for business. George.
Policies outlined in the 2021 budget as the best measures needed now to end with the 5% tax on profits. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by First Essentials and Allianz.
It is simple. Here, top up your airtime. Text SPIN to 5040 and win your prize. Simple. Oh. We are good together everywhere you go.
In over 70 countries worldwide, Allianz Life Insurance Ghana, a subsidiary of Allianz Group, has been as well as their employees. Kindly call us on 030, our website www.allianz-
Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry in partnership with Joy Business, National Budget, Prospects for Recovery, Resilience and Competitiveness for Private Sector Growth. This seminar will be hosted by from ISE, University of Ghana. Kobi Anda, who is the Managing Director, Bank of Africa. Dr. Samuel Ashong, special guest of honor is the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison. Will be live on Joy News, Joy FM, My Joy Online, as well as the Ghana Chamber of Commerce page on all social media.
You welcome back to Business on. Be seen as one of the best options now to aid economic recovery. The document has come under some one from US. The ministers they noted that some of these policy measures are similar.
I think this is a seminar budget. Globally, countries are looking less. Our budget, the president budget, focuses on a Ghana Cares Obatampa Program 19 and Build Back Better and Greener. It also provides revenue due for economic recovery. As you know, we started off in 2017. Great. How do you create, a society that has some sort of production as opposed to taxation, so that the
2021 budget from US. But it's not everyone that is excited about the minister's comments as to what the budget is doing and whether it can really turn around.
And would have expected that with 3 oil fields, from 2017 recovery in price, we could have managed. So in sum, when you look at this and resulting to more taxes.
And that's the former Minister of Finance, Tekpe. Now, banks are warning that loan advancement in the coming months may be affected if government presses ahead of this new tax. Manage the cost of cleaning up the banking sector. But Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Bankers, Johnny.
Credit is a function of the bank's capital levels. So if your ability to accumulate share intermediation, and let's see, when people talk about, during COVID, Ghana did not really see a lot of negative impact on the economy, we forget that the banks created or sanctioned 14.4 billion Ghana cedis in new loans to the environment. And so when we are talking about, business seems to be going on with the way they did.
And the Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Bankers, Johnny, about the President's special
investor flows come in the form of USD to purchase GHS to invest in the government of Ghana securities. This has also led to a 3.6%.
That wrong. Instead, let's look at other stories. We'll be hearing from Mr. Charles Dubois here, who is talking about the fact that
decisions we did 3 years ago. In fact, people didn't realize. So we stepped in, cleaned it up, built out a lot of depositors. And what did that mean? That meant that the few that were in helping to pay for the cleanup. It was a very expensive exercise. It can't be left only to the taxpayer. We also have to. So they really, I think, need to play a part in helping us pay for this cleanup.
Charles Dubois is strengthening in the coming months. That's the projection of First National Bank. Now, this is based on the upcoming Eurobond inflows as
foreign investor flows come in the form of USD to purchase GHS to invest in the FAR. If this sentiment is to continue, we expect that we will see yields compress further and we'll see the currency remain stable. Plan to get our deficit back to the 5% level will definitely.
Talking about our local bonds and the strong outlook for the Ghana city. And that's all for business.
That we've received so far via WhatsApp on 055-1111-997. And he's talking about the La General Hospital. Now, Olanyo in Akwetia says NDC is criticizing the budget as if the government of the day is increasing and introducing. Massey says, I totally agree with that Forson's sentiment about Kofi Ekowu budget. Ghanaians should prepare for more hardships.
Well, Baba, Chairman, in Tamale says, I think the executive should, as a matter of fact, engage the, from James, says the NDC is just practicing mere propaganda. They will have done worse than this. They are all the same. They should Ghanaians. Cash Boy in Ho. says this issue of land dispute is becoming very worrying under this regime. Today, on the back of the protest by the people and the indigents of La, the sector minister, Abu Jinapo, met
some angry youth of La registering their displeasure over what they describe as a military invasion of their lands, holding placards with the inscription La Military Cemetery at Bema Camp. The gods of the land were then invoked to punish those unlawfully taking their lands. The coalition of La Association, the umbrella body of youth groups there, say the parcel of land in contention was leased to the 1963, but to date, the military has failed to give them back their lands. Jeffrey Tete is spokesperson for the group.
But the military on their own have now extended, and they keep extending the portions of land that was given to them. They were given just 23.7 acres. Now, look at what they have taken. It's beyond 6,000 acres. Will you see this happening?
They want government to hand over documentation of the land to the stool, coupled with an authorization. Angry youth then stormed the Lands Commission, demanding an audience with the Lands Minister. Soon, the police were invited.
And to the chiefs, that the president said it before the elections and is very committed to ensure that this HO
holds dear. Faustina Safo for Joe News.
So that's Faustina Safo's report there.
Yes, so
out of the 13 children that were rescued were laid to rest.
And we are getting some assurances now from the Central Regional Minister, Justina Medici, in the region to help in rescue operations should such an incident happen again. She made this known when, of course, as she've announced, 11 out of the day, hundreds of people poured onto the street to bid farewell to the children amidst uncontrollable tears. Richard Kodonyako.
He attended Methodist JHS Apawu, Gilbert Esando, born on 28 May 2005.
Their tributes were read and is packed uncontrollable register, and subsequently cancelled their names from their records.
Enoch Ansa, what was the response? Madam, I learned he has passed on.
Luke Catholic Hospital at Apawu, the ceremony venue. 11 caskets lined up here, draped with cloth of many color members and well-wishers, defying the protocols and weeping on the caskets of the teenagers. It took the intervention of that she would have to start her tenure as the regional minister with such a heartbreaking ceremony. She promised, "We are sad, we are badly hit. This is a shocker. All that we can say is that God knows best, since we'll go to the beach to swim. Should there be a drowning incident, they could quickly step in to rescue the affected people." Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture.
10,000 Ghana cedi.
Government is giving 10,000 Ghana cedis to each affected family. To the parents, government is, and the kids who survived, we are giving 5,000 Ghana cedis. At the cemetery are 11 graves. The crowd milled through to say their final wishes and goodbyes. Gradually, the casket, and it has now dawned on the schoolmates of the teenagers that their friends were, be some miracle, have already given up. They are retreating to their various homes. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Richard Kweju.
Situation indeed at Apawu. Let's do sports now with Hans Mensah.
Evans Mensah. Evans turns and looks at me. But Patrice Motsepe is confident that under his tenure, African football will make strides towards becoming more globally competitive. The former Mamelodi Sundowns president was addressing the press.
And be respected, because there's nothing that gives you more respect than success. And you cannot catch that ball that was going to be a goal. I think we were on the verge of something really, really great. And Europe has got an excess of billions. We know that. And we've got problems with TV rights, and we failed with TV rights. Correct. We've got to fix those things. I'm confident. I'm absolutely confident that over the next few years, Africa will indeed be self-sustaining. And we will do it because all of us believe in that, but also because all of us are optimistic and succeeds and does become the best in the world.
Patrice Motsepe is setting the standards really, really high with the talk. Kenny Mount, Coach Siki Akono is preparing to name his squad. It's expected that some members of the Black Satellites team that won the Under-20 AFCON as the players who have been handed an invitation to the Black Stars ahead of the 2021 AFCON qualifiers against South Africa and Sao Tome.
The medal of the University of Ghana law professor Yao Bene is alleging his client was severely tortured while in police custody. He says this led to injuries and wants a full probe into the police handling of the 3 suspects, one of whom died in police custody. Court correspondent
Department. He is one of 3 suspects picked up by the police in its investigation into the murder of Professor Yao Bene in September last year. His lawyer Emmanuel Ama says he was tortured by police investigators.
What we call confession tape. They remove part of the flesh, the thigh, to do the plastic surgery.
The prosecutors explained to the court that the AG's crime to wit murder. The evidence against him is expected to be presented to the court on April 17.
Before?
No, I've heard a lot about it. I read about it in school. Did you?
Do you know what it means?
Well, Anomabo, no, I don't, but I have a feeling I am.
Fancy is not good. But ever wondered where the geographer that played a key role in Ghana's map, the Ghana...
And you haven't heard that name, you've done yourself a great disservice. In a Ghana Man series, though, Richard Kodonyako, if you haven't heard, country's history.
Kinbert Addison, born on 14th May 2006.
Dr. Kudjagri, Nanamo, beyond Ghana and Africa.
Victor Sejisi is a site manager for the Anomabo Memorial Garden. In this garden stands 3 Anamono IV.
These 3 individuals are all indigenes of Anomabo. George Kafagason will refer to him as Jesus Christ because he died at the age of by the British to demarcate our borders. When you mention Dr. Kudjagri, then you are talking about girl-child education.
That's not speak boldly to the happenings some years back. The community folk here are excited about the contributions of Anomabo in the history of Ghana. Kwekun Krumah is affected he and his colleagues are when the name of Anomabo is mentioned. What kind of rock plays host to beds like that? So they said Rock of Beds, and that's how the name has become. All these are because of the exploits of our forefathers. And one key role in this same town is a second Methodist church to be built in Ghana. Richard Kwejinyako, Joy News, Anomabo.
Well, that's Richard Kujunyako's report. I look forward to the next region that we are heading to for our Ghana Man series. But quickly, some more of your messages. Kofi Mensah in Teshinungwa.
Very interesting. If the government didn't have any money to build the hospital, then why did they pull it down? It's still a question we are waiting to ask the health minister.
Levy introduced in the 2021 budget. Some of your messages while we wait for the Geek Squad to take storage and media. And that's it for tonight's edition of Newsnight. But a lot of you are reading stories on myjoyonline.com. What are some of the
presidency? You heard that here on Newsnight. And there's also, I have received death threats for my persistent 21 budget, which is currently ongoing. It's live also on the Joy News channel. There is also this catchy North MP on controversial textbooks, and that's on PM Express tonight, by the way. We're bringing all the voices in for a conference.
To God and prayers from Ghanaians. And the Chief Justice to the Attorney General also sent only senior Night Express here on myjoyonline.com.
Plus, also why the Finance Minister believes it's God's intervention that has led him to recover.
Brush your teeth with Pepsodent, because with Pepsodent, every smile matters. The Geek Squad are up next, and evolution of story.